You received a call from an inmate at the Department of Corrections. This call will be recorded and monitored. If you wish to block any future calls of this nature, dial 7 now. To accept this call, press 5 now. To decline this call, hang up.
Well, hello, Rachel. How's it going? Yeah, we are fighting out here to get rid of mass incarceration. There's just really, I don't see it helping. And crime is going down, and a large part of it isn't because we're locking people up. There's a lot of different factors on there, but we want to get them on the ballot. Get people to get out there and vote. Do you want to keep spending all this money and abusing all these people and dealing with all these lawsuits and issues and abuse and deaths just because you have to keep people who really don't need to be in prison locked up? And I've heard about that. There's a lot of prison officials who abuse their authority, and that's something that we definitely need to look into, and we need to address. It's not something that you want to take lightly. Yeah, I understand. There's a lot of things that go into uh, locking a person up and maintaining them. But my main argument there is, if you can't afford to send a person to prison or put a person in jail, then don't do it. It's I mean it's something that we do out here in the civilian world constantly. Why in the world go out and look at cars that are out of your price range and get your hopes up when actually you can afford something much less with the funds that you have? And a lot of people, that's what they do. They look for the best deal. They go to thrift stores and yard sales, and they'll shop when there's a sale, or if they get gift cards. But the prison system, for some odd reason, they're actually spending more money than they have, and they don't have the available staff. Their resources are slim, and people are really not getting the care that they're supposed to get. If we send people to a hospital because of they need surgery, or they have a condition that can be easily uh, remedied with the medical staff, then we don't expect them to go into the hospital and then come out in worse shape or pretty much no change. We expect something. And we need to teach people that these correctional centers are meant to correct the wrong that's in society, not necessarily the people. We've got things going on out here that are that people feel that they have to commit a crime and go in there. And it doesn't happen to everybody, thank goodness, but those people that it does happen to, we need to teach them that it's not society that's forcing you in here. There's just certain conditions that you can't handle, and we're going to teach you how to deal with that. And so when the people get
You
out,
have 60 seconds
they know
remaining.
how to deal with the situations that arise. Okay, yeah, well, it was nice that you called. And remember, we're out here fighting to improve conditions for you guys. And we all benefit with you being out here working, paying taxes, and advocating, letting people know what's going on inside those jails and those prisons. Good, good. Yeah, keep talking to those other inmates, and eventually something's going
You
to
have
come out
30
of it.
seconds remaining.
Okay, well, thanks for the call, and thanks for staying on top of it all and spreading the word. We lose when we're silent. Okay, well, take care of yourself, and I'll talk to you later. Goodbye. Hello, welcome to AQS Inmate Call. I'm your host, Joel Wilborn. And this telephone call was based on people not having the necessary resources while they're in lockup. And that's something I emphasize continuously through the years, that in order for our penal system to work, we need to have the available staff, we need to have the available resources. And we're just not getting that. And it's really affecting people's lifestyles. We have folks that go into prison and even jail and they're committing suicide, which really blows my mind because these are people that are supposed to be constantly watched. And then we have people who are getting ill, and we have people who's are learning skills and making connections that could make them even more of a criminal when they get out. And since prisons are set up to protect the people that are in there and the people that are on the outside, we need to go back and regroup, try to figure out a way to work this out. And so we can, in the United States, vote mass incarceration out of existence. I know we've had jails and prisons and correction centers and treatment centers and stuff for years, but do you really think it's working? Do you really think people are not going to commit a crime because they could go to prison? The things we come up with, it just seems kind of odd, but when you talk to people who are in lockup, you get a better idea. A lot of folks that are in there are addicted. Now, in the United States, there's a lot of different factors. There's really no easy fix. You can't push a red button and solve these problems. And if you want support to end mass incarceration, or if you want to get better resources, more staff, you'll have to talk to a series of legislators. No one person created the system, and no one person is going to end it or even improve it. It's going to take a community to do that. And we can come together and we can work on it. And I think a great resource are the people that's locked up. And in the United States, crime is going down. Now, it can be attributed to a variety of factors, many of which overlap with global trends, but are also specific to the U.S. content. Okay, something like better policing strategies. Police departments across the country have implemented more effective, data-driven approaches like hotspot policing, which focuses on high crime areas, and community policing, which emphasizes building trust in local communities to prevent crime. Now, when you defund the police, you take away from these resources. So rather than spend all this money on the prisons, let's throw some money into these policing strategies that we have. And we have a decline in lead exposure. Now, here's something a lot of you may not even know, but research has shown a correlation between the decline in lead exposure from leaded gasoline and paint and lower rates of violent crime. Lead exposure in childhood has been linked to behavioral problems, including aggression, which could have contributed to the high crime rates of previous decades. Increased incarceration rates. The U.S. saw a dramatic rise in increased incarceration rates starting in the 1980s, particularly for drug-related offenses. While this has been a controversial and debated approach, some argue that locking up repeated offenders and violent criminals has contributed to a drop in crime rates. However, this strategy has also been criticized for social costs, including the impact on minority communities. That's something that I really look into with the racial barriers and stuff that goes up. That's, even though you might go through your day in an American town and not experience racism, within the prison system, there's a lot that still do. And it's just not emphasized that much, but it's there. But if we get rid of them because we don't really have a need for them, I think we can get rid of that problem as well. Now, economic growth and opportunities has led to a decrease in crime. The U.S. has experienced periods of economic growth, which often correlate with lower crime rates. More job opportunities and improved financial stability reduce the motivation to commit crimes, especially properly related crimes like theft. Advancements in technology and surveillance, improved technology such as security cameras, alarm systems, and smartphones has made it harder to commit certain crimes without being caught. Social media and digital footprints also make it easier for law enforcement to track criminal activity. Demographic shifts. The population in the U.S. is aging, and since most crimes are committed by younger people, the aging population has contributed to lower crime rates. Fewer people in the prime age range for committing crimes, typically between 15 and 25, naturally leads to fewer crimes. Into the crack epidemic, the 1980s and 1990s saw high crime rates due in part to the crack cocaine epidemic. As crack use declined and the drug market shifted, the associated violence and crime also decreased. Social programs and education, increased investment in social services, mental health care, education, and after-school programs has helped reduce crime by providing better support for at-risk individuals, particularly in urban areas. Gun control laws in some areas. In cities and states with stricter gun control laws, such as background checks for bans on certain weapons, there has been a decrease in gun-related violence, though this varies widely by region. Now, this is a statistic I pulled off the internet. I'm not a big fan of banning guns. I mean, putting stricter control on them. I mean, that's a dangerous weapon, and so we need high education on it. So training people and maybe getting the license a little bit stricter, that I can go for. And we could say that it decreases, but the guns are available out there constantly. I mean, you're not going to get rid of the millions of guns that's already there. And I think mainly people are just being a little more careful in these areas. So, but the fact that we're paying attention to it, that should be able to help a lot of people, because there's folks out there that think we need to get rid of them. So if we have stricter requirements to get them, that's not going to hurt. But I'm against the United States banning them, certain weapons or any weapons. But we are decreasing in crime. Matter of fact, pretty much across the globe. And it means that we need to improve on what we're doing. And we need to communicate, we need to talk to folks. Young people, they're still learning. They like to experiment. They've been known to take higher risks. And so with them, causing most of the crime rates to go up, instead of focusing on the prison, let's focus on ways to help them out, to listen to them, to work with them. But by nature, we're aging. And as the older people get, the less likely they are to commit crimes. And hopefully we're not going to see a bunch of senior citizens running up and down the streets in gangs. And gang membership is dropping. And so we want to thank the policing community, advocates, the people that are working to try to get people away from the gangs. And a lot of folks get into gangs because they feel they're not loved, they're not needed. And when I talk to folks, I want to let them know they're important. That's why when Michael Oakes is sharing his short stories with me and people are watching the videos and listening to it, what is his message? They're short, to the point, and they're written by him. I'm sharing his story. And so far, AI is reading them. But he wrote them, and I just published them. And it shows that he's a violent criminal that's locked up, but he has a talent. He has things he can share. And there are other things that people can share too, a lot of wisdom on, of course, a lot of us want to know, why did you do that? These folks can give us an inside idea of what happened. And then when kids and the younger folks and people who are leaning toward crime, they hear these things, they're not aware that there's an alternative. There's people that go out there and say, my life is terrible, I can't stand living, I don't want to get up in the morning, things I used to enjoy, I can't. All these things go through their mind, so they think, I'm going to go kill myself. Well, we have the suicide prevention phone line where people can call in, and sometimes just talking helps relax them. And if a parent is talking to a child and a child is just feeling suicidal, or maybe the parent can detect that, and this person calls this hotline, and these professionals on the other end are working to try to convince the person, because there's nothing we can do to prevent people from committing suicide. That's the person who commits suicide. But if you can give that person something that they're looking for, like somebody to listen to them, or somebody to explain things that can be done when you feel this way. I'm not an expert on this, but we can offer resources, and the person who's suicidal can take that and use it in his own way, and hopefully that could lean the person toward not wanting to commit suicide. And I have noticed that a lot of folks did not know about an alternative when they went out and committed crime. People who are addicted, they want to get away from the addiction, but getting into a treatment center, if it's too expensive or too embarrassing for them or too much of trouble, and they would just rather get high and sit in the corner, that's something we could work on. Because when people need money, they'll steal from their family members, they'll steal from charities, hospitals, and churches. It's just, and in their mind, all they care about is getting that next high. But with cocaine use down and lead out of our stuff, that's pushing people statistically away, that's good. That's what we need to concentrate on. So let's concentrate on the things that are working to prevent crime, and not create new things that we think are going to work. I really want to get rid of all the prisons. I want them all to close. That's my ultimate goal. It's not impossible, but it will take a lot of work to do that. And it's been around for centuries. But by broadcasting this on social media, I just want the audience to know there are better ways to prevent crime. There are better ways to help people live a crime-free life and live in a crime-free neighborhood. We just need to talk, we need to work, and we need to look at the things that are working and improve on them. Well, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you'll be able to talk with the young folks, and we can get rid of this mass incarceration and bring crime down and start concentrating on other things, like our health care or education. I'd rather be an advocate for those things than to every day have to keep running after incarceration, especially the things that goes on in there, the assaults, the theft, the abuse, the degradation, discrimination. A lot of stuff is going on in there. Well, have yourself a wonderful day and make fantastic memories for tomorrow.